from the white roads of Oudorp in the Netherlands. Welcome to the GCN Show.
Welcome to the GCN Show.
Coming up this week, why gravel is going to make way for the next big thing in cycling, even if you don't want to admit it.
We have also got news of Apple moving into cycling, records broken at the UCI Mountain Bike World Series, and the top ranked cities in the USA for cycling naked. This week in the world of cycling, we learned that the most contentious subject in the sport is not disc brakes, but tough, muddy gravel races.
Oh yeah, lots and lots and lots of comments under last week's GCN show about the Unbound Mudfest. Plenty of people still moaning, some of it legit. There was clearly a lot of heartbreak and empty wallets from broken equipment.
But even more people who'd ridden and survived said it was spot on, didn't they, in the comment section?
Spot on. Right, we also learnt that it was a weekend for records at the latest round of the Mountain Bike World Cup. Nino Schurter is now officially the greatest of all time. By winning the men's cross-country race, he's now got the record for the highest number of World Cup wins at 34.
And at 37 years of age as well. So it seemed like time was running out for him. So take note, Mark Cavendish.
Well, yeah, but he's 38, isn't he? And he's looking for his 35th win.
Well, it's similar enough, but
All right,
good
okay.
point. I'll give you a good point.
Now, we also learnt that while Connor definitely didn't have it at Unbound, Alex Payton still does.
Yeah, he won an actual race, didn't he? And no ordinary bike race, a round of the exceedingly prestigious Castle Combe Series.
That's right. Now, GCN Plus, unfortunately, couldn't actually secure the rights to broadcast that race live, but we have negotiated, at great expense, a clip from the finish for you to enjoy.
Between Alex.
That was quite the sprint from Alex there, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, one for the ages.
Now, we've been having some fairly uncomfortable conversations here at GCN over the last few days, haven't we?
Yeah, so not the usuals like disc brakes or aerodynamic valve caps, more on that later, or indeed even handlebar
No,
bags.
none of the above. Instead, we're beginning to come to the realisation that cross-country mountain biking is the next big thing.
Yeah. We've not come to this conclusion lightly.
Not at all, no.
We weren't sure, in fact, whether actually we should admit it publicly,
No.
but we did feel like it was important to sort of make you all aware.
Exactly,
really.
yeah, because education is the best form of prevention, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed.
Of course. Now, mountain biking is, well, it's a semi-successful form of cycling in its own right. I think
Semi.
I'm right in saying. Yeah. But our concern is that gravel racing is acting as a sort of bridge between roadies and them, I'm going to say.
A bridge or a gateway drug.
Yeah. At the top end, it's happening in racing, isn't it? Ignoring a large chunk of mountain bike history from the late 90s, because firstly, there was Pauline from Provost, she made the switch, didn't she? Then, Sagan dabbled a bit, then Mathieu van der Poel, Tom Pidcock. Now it seems like it's a free-for-all, doesn't it?
Yeah, the unthinkable has happened, hasn't it? Ineos have a mountain bike team. Alpecin de Koning have a mountain bike team. Jumbo-Visma have a mountain bike team, complete even with full suspension Cervelos.
Yeah, which I'm yet to test, somewhat unbelievably. But yes, where the pros go, the rest seem to follow.
Yeah, like the eye of Sauron, pro roadies have turned our gaze onto mountain biking.
That is a weird analogy.
Slightly odd,
I've got to say, but okay.
Right.
Anyway, don't panic too much back at home there, because road cycling, it's holding fast, isn't it? With more people on road bikes now than at any point in history. So it's not going anywhere. But gravel has tempted dyed-in-the-wool roadies away from the tarmac. We're going to say it goes something like this.
Try it. God, it's just like road cycling. Look, the bars and the gears are the same. It's just that you've got slightly fatter tyres.
And so you do. Many people have, in fact. They've ventured onto the dirt.
They have, but then tame gravel turns to gnarly gravel. So your tyres get wider, your gears get wider, your handlebars get wider, and straighter. And before long, you're riding single track with a dropper post and suspension.
It's inevitable, really, isn't it? You start exploring, you venture onto new trails, but realise that at some point it's just too bumpy or too steep or too rocky or too muddy.
You have maxed out your gravel bike. Now, do you just think, okay, now I know where to ride and where not to ride? Or do you start thinking that maybe gravel is just a little bit bumpy? Yeah, you ride a friend's mountain bike and that's it.
Yeah, one hit is all you need. One hit is all it takes, isn't it? And then you are sucked in pretty much for good.
Well, for a bit anyway, until you realise that actually it's blooming nice, going really fast on smooth tarmac, and also staying relatively clean at the same time.
Well, the clean bit is a big one for me.
Yeah, exactly.
The pain with mountain biking. One other factor, which I think we have failed to mention so far, Si, is that the long and short of all of this is that you and I, well, we got into that part of the sport 30 years ago, didn't we? And it's finally about to explode in popularity, basically with a catalyst.
When you point it out, we were the literal trailblazers.
We were, along with the thousands that got into it way before us.
Yeah, and the hundreds of thousands that have made it cool since we were there. But anyway, that's it though, isn't it? Everything is cyclical, right? So you can see the popularity of anything waxing and waning. And I think that's exactly what's happened here, isn't it? Like, road cycling, popular, and then mountain biking was popular, and then mountain biking was less popular, and then road cycling comes back, and then there's gravel, and then there's mountain bike. So it all comes and goes, doesn't it? But right now, cross-country mountain bike is going through a purple patch.
Yeah, and downhill there. I was addicted to watching the downhill round of the World Series of
Really?
Lenzerheide. On Saturday, I loved it.
No.
I loved it. Yeah, we're talking a little bit about it later on in the show, aren't we?
We are, yeah.
Two riders at two ends of their careers taking victory in the elite women's and the elite men's race on Saturday. I thought it was brilliant.
Well, there we go then. If Dan's getting into downhill,
I've always enjoyed watching downhill mountain biking.
the road's even rockier than I thought, my word. Right, really, really interested to hear, as ever, your thoughts on this. Are you someone who's actually got a history of mountain biking? Do you dabble already? Have you recently refound the love? Or do you still think that mountain biking is the work of Satan?
Or have you never been into it before and you've just started to use a mountain bike cross country and you're really enjoying it? Let us know in the comment section down below. Let us know why you found it in the first place or why you're getting back into it. We'd be very interested to know.
I do genuinely think that there's a lot of roadies going to make a switch. Well, not like a permanent switch, but you know what I mean? Just like doing a bit on the side.
Yeah, and I also generally think that a lot of people our age might go back to mountain biking because the bikes are so much better than they were in the 90s, aren't they?
That's true. It's a bit like what aerodynamics has done for road in terms of my average speed. So too has technology and mountain biking. It's made me feel like I'm actually still all right.
Yeah.
So there we go. Yeah, there's a reason.
A bit
to
like
do it.
compact chain rings allowing me to still be in the brick ring. They're great. Hack/Bodge of the week now. Don't forget you can get involved over on the GCN app by casting your vote on the hacks and bodges that have already been uploaded or uploading your very own. First up this week, the Infra PM. Old inner tube reborn as tyre storage. Always on the lookout for new uses for old inner tubes. For months, I've been scratching my head for some convenient storage solution for my spare tyre collection. I mean, it's simple.
It is simple. Yeah, I mean, it took a while actually for me to work out
It did,
what was going on
surprisingly
here.
so.
Yeah, but I can see now that the inner tube is effectively like a strap,
Yeah.
which is ingenious, isn't it?
Yeah, simple and effective.
I'm not overwhelmed, to be totally honest. But, if you're happy, Infra PM, then I'm happy, I think.
Yeah, well, yeah. We perhaps could have started this week's hacks and bodges with a slightly more overwhelming one, but we'll go with it anyway. I'm still going to say hack because it's making use of an old inner tube and it's doing the job and its purpose.
I just wouldn't want my tyres stuck to the ceiling, I don't think. But I mean, I suppose they're out of the way, as long as you're not too tall.
Well, very true. It's a slightly overwhelming majority that voted hack on it, though. 92%.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe we've missed something. Maybe they're commenting on something else.
I think we could be looking at it for quite some time and still conclude that it's an inner tube holding some tyres to the ceiling.
I tell you what, I do like the degree of whiteness of your bar tape. Like that bike that's just in shot there, that's impressive.
It is. It doesn't look like it's been ridden.
No, it doesn't. Or just either that, or you just keep it super fresh. So yeah, well done. I'll give you a hack for that. Right, next up, Patrick46, pedal fix. Now this might need some explanation to those of you that aren't familiar with time pedals. But anyway, they've got a plate for a spring and the spring broke. So Patrick cut a replacement out of an old wood saw, which was the same gauge of metal, and he says it works a treat. So there we go.
He was lucky he had 2 saws, wasn't he? Otherwise it would have been a bit like when you buy a pair of scissors inside a packet that you can't open.
Yeah, I like that. You know, I've not tried, but I wonder whether it's one of those things that you can't buy a replacement, or at least if you can.
I bet it is, yeah. Or it's difficult to do.
Yeah,
so.
and then you
buy
just
a broken pair and use the spare parts off of that.
And there you go. Just like, I mean, it's not a hack that everyone can do. The thought of cutting that neat little square out of a piece of metal. I'm wondering how you've done that.
Yeah, but it's a hack from me.
Yeah, it's a hack from me as well. That's great.
It's not. I mean, this one's only 80% hack. It's not as good as the inner tube to the ties to the ceiling storage.
Whoa, what's going on? I mean, there's no white bar tape in shot, but that is a much better hack than an inner tube strapping your tyres to ceiling. Anyway, whatever. We're all entitled to our own opinions, aren't we?
Moving on to one that's really on the fence. We will reveal the results shortly, but it's from J Wilson 14, emergency free hub repair. Cycling the Hebridean Way, when one of our free hubs broke. One cable tie broke instantly, so we resorted to an inner tube tow to make a ferry. Quite a few more cable ties applied during the ferry crossing got us 15 kilometres to the next bus stop.
Well, there you go. Now, before you all think, zip ties, I'm going to hate it. No, I don't. That is the use of a zip tie. That is why you take zip ties with you when you go bicycling, just in case something happens. I like that. That's a roadside hack for my money. And there is a bit of a backstory to this, isn't there, Dan?
What, from our end?
Well, yes. So many years ago...
About 10, probably 10 years ago.
10 years ago, Dan made a video which was roadside maintenance hacks, and I'd contributed some of those hacks, one of which was, if your free hub breaks, zip tie your cassette to your spokes. And Dan went, I tried it, it didn't work.
Well, it didn't. But I think I had 5 much thinner zip ties, and I've already managed to count at least 13 slightly more industrial zip ties being used in this. I mean, who takes that many zip ties out on a bike ride?
Well, that is true, actually. That's a lot of zip ties. I mean, it might just be that you had incredible amounts of raw power.
Well, I was thinking I was a lot fitter and more powerful 10 years ago, so probably,
There you go.
It probably would have taken 30, maybe 40 zip ties back in those days for it not to break under my immense power.
You said he looked a lot younger in that video,
I did.
That's for sure. One thing though, if you are going to do this roadside hack, you have to be really careful that you don't forget to stop pedalling, because otherwise you...
Don't forget to keep pedalling.
Sorry, yes, that was terrible advice. Don't forget to keep pedalling. Otherwise, if you try and stop, it could be the end of your derailleur and all sorts of stuff.
And no amount of zip ties is going to get you out of that situation.
No.
Well, I will go with hack alongside.
I'm going to go with hack,
but only 51% of you voted that one hack, even if you read the description with the towing using an inner tube part as well.
Well, there we go. Tough bunch, aren't you?
Last one this week comes in from Darwin Fox, 3D printed jockey wheel for rear derailleur. Not advisable unless necessary, Darwin says. Printed in resin on DLP SLA printer. I moved it to the bottom position after I posted this. Well, what I don't understand is if you don't need to do it unless it's really necessary, how do you also have the time to do it if it's not really necessary? Do you know what I mean? You could just buy a second-hand jockey wheel or a new jockey wheel or whatever it might be.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't understand. Like normally, 3D printed gets an automatic hack, but in this case, you've 3D printed a very ordinary-looking jockey wheel and then said it's a bit crap. So I don't really know what to say to that.
I'd like to know why it was moved to the bottom position as well.
Well, because your top jockey wheel
does the
float,
alignment,
doesn't it?
Yes, true.
So if you've got a crap jockey wheel up top, then your shifting goes to pot a little bit, doesn't it?
I see, yeah.
Do you know what you should do? All of those people that rode Unbound 2 weekends ago and broke their rear derailleurs, don't throw it in the bin, raid it for bits. Take the jockey wheels off, put them somewhere safe, take the bolts off, put them somewhere safe, because one day you'll need a jockey wheel.
Yeah, well, I remember back in my mountain bike days, the amount of times my jockey wheels were ended up as like spikes.
Yeah.
I mean, the mud really gets through them, doesn't it?
Does indeed, yeah. That's why mountain biking won't take on. Anyway.
Yeah, ignore the lead story from today's show.
I'm going to say Bodge for that. It's the first ever 3D printed Bodge.
Well, I'll go hack, but I see no reason to do it.
That's pretty much the definition of Bodge, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much, Darwin, for sending that one in. Perhaps you could elaborate in time for next week's show. But yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for contributing. We've got an update, by the way, on last week's aerofoil valve extender. So stay tuned for that one.
Oh, it's coming up later again, isn't it?
Well, some smart people contributed
I see.
in the comment section. And anyway, it's a bit of a rudimentary physics lesson for me.
And now it's time for cycling shorts.
Cycling shorts now, and we're going to start with some tech news. And this is techie tech news at that, because Apple just made a cheeky little move into cycling.
Cheeky little move, yeah, that's right. With their next software update for their watch, they will enable Bluetooth connectivity with third-party cycling sensors, including power meters.
That's right, and with this data, they will then calculate your FTP. Now, they clearly didn't read the memo that FTP is dead, but hey. And from that, they will also set your training zones. No word on what they consider to be Zone 2 yet, though.
I thought you can't estimate Zone 2 from power anyway.
Well, you can't. So they didn't get that memo either. Interestingly, I asked ChatGPT what Zone 2 was.
An account earlier.
Yeah, I did, yeah, and it couldn't tell me accurately either. So clearly, word just hasn't filtered through yet.
Yeah, come on, Silicon Valley, get with the program.
Yeah.
Back to Apple, though, just for a brief moment. That watch update is also then going to turn your iPhone into a head unit by mirroring what's being recorded on your watch, I was reading.
Yeah, that's quite interesting, isn't it? Weirdly, it's kind of a little bit like what Wahoo started out with mirroring stuff. Anyway, that update is due in September, apparently, so not too long to wait. Moving on, let's give you a little update in the racing world, shall we? The men's Tour de France warm-up races have begun, with Jonas Vingegaard winning the Dauphiné in dominant fashion, on a bike with no front derailleur at times. Anyway,
I thought you might notice that.
I did, yeah. He won a hilly Stage 5 on an Aero Cervelo S5 with a single front chain.
Which I'm yet to test, believe it or not. Anyway, worth watching that race on Catch Up on GCN Plus if you missed it. Although don't miss the Tour de Suisse, or Tour of Switzerland, which is on live this week, and the women's race, which starts on Saturday.
Oh, cool. Meanwhile, someone you won't see at the Dauphiné or Tour de Suisse is Tadej Pogacar, who's currently missing in action.
Yeah, you can see him actually though on Instagram.
Well,
so
yeah.
I reckon he slanted his camera though in this one to make that road look a little bit tougher than it actually is.
I reckon he has, yeah. He's got to scare Vingegaard somehow, hasn't he? Apparently, that was also the highest paved road in Europe that he rode up. Picos de Valletta in Sierra Nevada in Spain.
Yeah, now he's only got one race day before the start of the Tour de France now, so it's going to be a cracking and unpredictable July, isn't it?
I think it will actually, yeah. I can't wait.
No, it's going to be great.
Right, back to mountain biking. Can I say that quickly? I think it's the third time, isn't it? Don't worry, we're not gone to the dark side. But this is worth knowing about. In the women's downhill at the World Cup of the weekend, or World Series.
Don't tell me, Si.
No, of course. Yeah, well, yeah. Rachel Atherton, has made an incredible comeback. She's not raced for 4 years, but she won at her first race back, which happened to be a World Series.
You know what I heard, which is quite interesting, is that she won her first national title before the winner of the men's downhill, Jordan Williams, was born.
No.
Yeah.
Now there's a stat to make you feel old, isn't it?
Yes.
Apologies, Rachel, for dropping that one in. By the way, we've got a cracking documentary about Rachel and her two brothers, the Atherton family, on GCN Plus. So make sure you watch that one, actually. It's properly good.
Moving on, it's about time we went on to far more important matters, I think. Where are the best places in the US to ride a bike naked?
A question you never thought you'd need answering, and a question you probably still don't need answered, but one that Lawn Starter have answered anyway. So they have ranked, and I say that deliberately clearly, ranked the biggest 200 cities in the US based on 11 different metrics.
Yeah, and amongst those metrics, naked biking events in the local area, local interest in nude cycling, bikeability, and local public nudity laws.
What about average temperature?
No, I don't. They probably should have done, but I don't think that was a metric that was included. So
Bizarre.
Anyway, I think the results warrant a drum roll.
Okay.
Don't they? Okay. In third place, Seattle. In second place, but with the top ranking in naked bike riding popularity, it's Portland. But coming first overall is Philadelphia.
Really? Philadelphia?
Yeah.
The best city in the US to ride a bike naked in?
Apparently. I mean, I've not tried it.
I would never have guessed. Honestly.
No.
Which city was the worst for being...
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Surprise! No, it's a place, yeah, that was a terrible joke, sorry. But it's a place called Surprise, which is in Arizona, that ranks 200th out of the 200 cities that were ranked. Apparently it's not a very good place to ride a bike naked. Surprise.
There you go. Oh, what a great fact. I never even knew there's a place called Surprise. Can I just quickly take this opportunity to make a recommendation to everybody out there?
You can, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, never use a bike sharing bike the day after an organised naked bike ride has been to town.
That is sound advice.
I think so,
right
yeah.
there, Si. Especially if you're a naked bike rider yourself.
Oh, right, there we go. Let's move on, shall we? From one terrifying mental image to another, quite frankly. Bicycles with number plates.
Truly controversial. Yeah, we've talked about this a couple of times over the years, haven't we, Si? Occasionally, someone suggests that bikes having number plates will solve all the problems of global transportation. But fortunately, it never seems to get all that far, does it, when people actually give it some thought?
No. I.e., the issues caused by a tiny minority of cyclists breaking laws will be completely dwarfed by the costs associated with actually regulating bike number plates, not to mention the knock-on implications of spiralling congestion, pollution, and public health issues if you create more barriers to cycling.
You've been thinking about this quite a lot, haven't you, Si?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
But no one's pointed that out to Italy's Deputy PM and Minister for Transport. He wants bikes to be registered in a bid to reduce the number of road traffic fatalities.
Well done, well done. Nothing makes motorists tear their eyes away from their smartphones quite like the deterrent of running over a cyclist who has a licence plate.
Now, fortunately, the minister did do a little bit of a U-turn, backpedaled, if you will, sorry, after an international ridicule and condemnation.
Yes. To be fair, I think actually we should applaud politicians for U-turns, because there is nothing wrong with being wrong.
Well,
right?
there's no, definitely not. I mean, we've made our fair share of U-turns ourselves. We've always made careers out of it, Si.
Yeah, we have, yeah.
Now, just before we finish with cycling shorts, we wanted to talk to you about cycling socks.
That's
If I can
right,
actually find them.
because GCN Club members will shortly be receiving their latest pair, woohoo, which you can see here. Very much French themed.
They are.
As we gear ourselves up for a whole month of top-level racing in France this July.
Yes.
And a bit of Spain as well. Just at the
Yeah,
beginning.
it starts in Spain, doesn't it? Now, if you would like to sign up and get your hands or your feet on these very socks, all you need to do is go to club.globalcyclingnetwork.com. Sign up there and you should be receiving these in the post very soon indeed. You might have noticed them in the background throughout most of today's show.
I'm rocking the Giro one still. Blooming love these ones.
Crikey,
Yeah.
stretch.
You can even wear them on naked bike rides, I think, actually. Can't you?
Is that part of the rules, is it, of a naked bike ride? You're still allowed to wear socks?
Yeah, I mean, you can wear them wherever you like as well, I think.
Yeah, get twice as long usage out of them, couldn't you, potentially? Anyway.
It's time now for Caption Competition, that part of the show where you get a chance to get your hands on a coveted GCN... Someone's used that again.
No.
Can you hear that?
That's disgraceful.
That's disgusting. We'll get you a clean one, basically. GCN Elite water bottle, but a brand new one.
I thought it literally just... Well, I guess it has been put there after being used. Anyway, this was last week's photo that we gave you to give a caption to, and we have a clear winner. Ian Daniels, who put Caption Competition, riding for EF, it's Richard Crappy Hats.
I love that one. When I read it, I properly laughed out loud. And I've done it again. Richard Carapaz, Richard Crappy Hats. See what you did there.
Very
Amazing.
good.
Yeah.
As ever, write us a message on Facebook with your address, Ian, and we'll get that bottle sent out to you. And
that hat doesn't seem to be making him go that fast, does it? Oh, poor Richard.
No, I think he was suffering from overconfidence at the Dauphiné.
Oh,
He
really?
just won a race on the lead into it and thought he was going to drop Jonas Vingegaard. But basically, he gave a really nice lead out to Jonas Vingegaard for his victory and dropped himself. And later finished over half an hour down on GC. So a little bit of work to do before the Tour de France.
Bit
But
of
anyway,
work, but that's okay.
we digress.
Yeah,
This
all right.
week's photo is this one, also from the Criterium de Dauphiné. I will get you started. Victor, do you know you've got a big yellow flap on your helmet? Was all I could come up with.
He looks a little bit like a cartoon dinosaur with that
It does look
sticking out
strange,
the top of
doesn't
his top of his lid. Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, he's often dabbling in new technologies, isn't he? So maybe that kind of like aero fin is legit. So there we go. All right, well, if you think you can better Dan's caption, then stick it in the comment section down below. We'll pick a winner next week, and we will send you a brand new GCN Elite water bottle.
We are shortly going to let you know what's coming up on GCN and GCN Plus over the coming week. But first up, a few comments from last week. Starting with last week's show, there were a lot of comments, as we said. And I think, Si, it would be best for you to read the first one out.
Well, that's right. Physics lesson for me. So, if you remember from Hackle Bodge, we had a submission which was an aerodynamic valve extender.
Now remember, we've teased it twice in this show already.
Of course you will. Of course you will. Now, it was kind of a tongue-in-cheek submission, I've later learned. But anyway, me and Hank poo-pooed it. But apparently, according to Galen Keller, the aerodynamics of the wheel is indeed complex, but the valve stem is considerably simpler because of the geometry of the wheel rolling. Remember that the valve stem is going very slowly at the bottom when the wheel comes to a stop and then accelerates to nearly double the rider speed at the top. So the importance of the aerodynamics in one direction is vastly more important. So a unidirectional valve stem is appropriate.
Well, they're going
Apparently.
on my bike after reading that.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, there you go. I didn't stand corrected. I said I didn't understand. But there we go. Lesson learned. Thank you, Galen.
Adam Collins wrote in saying, New to Stinn, Little Trek are going to stop pushing for marginal gains and are going to focus on little improvements instead.
See what we did there, Adam?
Yes, very
Nice.
good. I'm wondering if we're going to see Treks in the central aisle of Lidl.
Oh, imagine that.
Future.
Imagine that.
At bargain basement prices.
Yeah. Right then, under 5 ways you could be ruining your bike fitness, Mark Cowell said, I would add, recognise the changes in your body as you get older and adjust your cycling training and ambitions to suit. The numbers may go down a little over time, but the enjoyment goes up. And of course, always wear aero socks.
Yeah.
I actually was having a chat with a colleague of ours called Harry today, not about declining bike fitness, but declining skateboard fitness. Apparently, he was telling me about how Tony Hawk is at the age where he's officially retiring tricks. So he spends a day doing a trick and then says, right, that's it. That's the last time I'm ever going to do a McTwist 720.
Yeah.
And then he moves on. So there you go. Maybe it's a bit like that. Aging gracefully. Which,
If I ever do another 100-mile ride, I might do the same thing. Let's park that.
yeah,
Done it.
I think you should. I think you should do officially mile up. But you're not old enough to do your last ever 100-mile
No,
ride.
but I look it.
Well, that is true.
Meanwhile, under this is the hardest cycling climb in the world, Ryan Beechner, absolutely loving Ollie's new hiking special. Love that. Mr. Asthenia. It's always great when the camera crew troll Ollie by only filming him pushing the bike. Looking forward to seeing Andrew Feather conquering the climb. And Pip Viper put, Stefan's bleep record on GCN has now been smashed by Ollie.
You know what, right? So you might think we're trolling Ollie. Genuinely, the video, we were looking at the video before it was released, and it was like, that's really cool, that's proper good vid. Is there any more of Ollie riding, just to make it a little bit more like a cycling video? And no, was the answer. It really was that hard. So
He's
so there you
parked
go.
that climb now.
That's
He's
right.
Parked it.
Speaking of hard, if you want to look at someone who really knows how to suffer, my word, watch Connor's Unbound video. Anyway, Dana commented, she said, when I left the mud section and finally got on a basic gravel road, I can't explain the satisfaction of hearing and seeing chunks of mud fling off my tyres as I got to ride again. Crossing the first bridge over a highway, a man was holding the two halves of his carbon fibre bike in his hands. Beastly, but she survived. So well done, Dana. That's Yeah, that would be savage.
It would be. David Chomovich, good one, lads. 100% gravel should be hard AF, especially Unbound. So glad you got to experience Unbound gravel at its finest. XL for me this year, 67 years old and felt like a kid again, crossing the line at 2:48 in the morning with 12 minutes to spare before the official cut-off. Well done to you, David.
Fair play, David. That's impressive. I'm pretty sure actually you did the XL quicker than Connor did the 200s. So yeah, that's some going there. And then how do we call that? My Rimidon 202. Don't know.
Mirimadon. Don't know.
Mirimadon?
We could be here for quite some time.
We could, yeah. Anyway, that one. Like everyone is saying, massive congrats to Connor for what he managed, but also, holy moly, it's impressive how fast the editors managed to get videos of this quality out. Yes, I would like to second that. That was an incredible effort, and what a video it is too. So yeah, I think everyone is proud of that one. Rightly so.
Meanwhile, Ian Firth, but that guy that rode back to give you a drink on, one hell of a fella. For him, it'll probably seem like nothing, but for you, it literally saved your race. It's a fantastic metaphor for how we can all make a difference to each other in life.
Well, Ian, it's funny you say that. We actually managed to track down that individual, didn't we? And we would like to award the Good Samaritan from Unbound.
Wow.
The ultimate beat on. Look at that.
So low is the budget for the GCN Show. You have to do the sound effects and the voices all yourself, don't you?
That's right. Anyway, no, seriously, Matthew Leake was the guy that turned around and cycled back down the Unbound course to give Connor some water. Much needed water, I think we can all agree. And what an amazing gesture that was. So he took time out of his own race to help a fellow rider out.
Brilliant.
So yeah, that's super cool. So Matthew, thank you so much. And genuinely, we will get the GCN mega bottle over to you.
Yeah.
So,
and if you would like me to add my signature to the bottle before it's sent out, Matt, just let me know. Right, so I think it's time to let you know what's coming up on GCN Plus and GCN this week.
Maron Lloyd,
Yeah.
Hank. That's mine. I know that's mine because I wrote it. Ollie. It could be one of those.
That's Alex Pate, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, you can definitely see that's an A. Go on, that could be yours.
I don't see how. I don't know who that is.
Connor, presumably.
Crikey, it's almost an artistic picture, isn't it? Anyway, what's coming up on GCN this week? On Wednesday, we are going to let you know how to go about riding long distances. Well, Connor did it, didn't he? Didn't look much fun. We're going to let you know how to do it anyway. On Thursday, we've got some tips on different hand positions on a road bike. It's something we've done before, but we've updated that video with some new information, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And then on Friday, budget bike versus crit race.
That's right. Can Alex's £200 upgrade bike cut it in a local crit race? You've seen he's got the form, haven't you? My word, after that sprint. So anyway, do check that one out. I can't wait to watch it. On Saturday, just how weak are cyclists? We have got hold of our local hitter, Max Stedman, who is probably about 50 kilos, to find out how he stacks up next to our local tame bodybuilder, Brad. Can't wait for that one. It's weird that we didn't get asked to do how weak are cyclists, but I guess, with you having gone to the gym 6 times in the last month, you probably can't get asked to do that.
Yeah, it was 6 times. Yeah, 6. I was on a little holiday and I went 6 mornings out of 8. Yeah, strained every muscle in my body.
So 6 gym sessions in just over a week.
Yep.
Also 6 gym sessions in a month.
Yeah.
And 6 gym sessions in a year.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Still, got to start somewhere, haven't you? And then on Sunday, my word, we've been talking about it a lot this show. Road versus mountain bike, which is actually harder. So we're going to put a bit of fight for you guys, just to show that the road really is tough.
Now, over on GCN Plus, there is a lot of live racing for you to feast your eyes on this week. The men's Tour de Suisse, as mentioned earlier in the show, continues through to Sunday. Quite a lot of territory restrictions on that, so check it's available where you are. No territory restrictions on any of the other races on this week. So the women's Tour de Suisse, 4 days starting on Saturday. We have the Tours of Belgium and Slovenia starting on Wednesday, including on Sunday. And the Route d'Occitanie starting on Thursday and concluding on Sunday as well. Beyond all of that, the next round of the Mountain Bike World Series. It's in Austria, in Leogang. That must start, I think, on Friday and run through to Sunday. I'll be tuned in for the downhill because I'm in Austria. Actually, not far away. We're in Salbach.
Yeah, that's
the
right.
Global Bike Festival. And beyond all of that, we've got daily highlights of the Giro Next Gen, which used to be known as the Under-23 or the Baby Giro.
There you go. And also, the documentary that we've got for you this week is a cracker, another cracker. It's Chris Froome back in Africa. So we went to Tour of Rwanda, hang out with Chris Froome for the week, and it's a proper cool, like kind of really good insight into Froome, and a great look at that race as well. So do check it out. As Dan said, it's Global Bike Festival this weekend, so hopefully we'll see you guys out there.
Yeah, there's quite a few of you. We're quite looking forward to seeing you all out in Austria.
Yeah.
It's over in Salbach. Officially kicks off on Thursday.
It does indeed. We've got a live GCN show for you on Friday. If you don't get to come to Salbach, then you can watch that next week.
Yeah,
on
once
Tuesday.
the canned laughter's been added.
Yeah, that's right. Unfortunately. And then what else we doing? Oh, we've got GCN versus GMBN at some point, haven't we?
More Roadies versus mountain bike.
Yeah, we'll win that one, no problem. Anyway, thank you very much for watching for this week, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.